The time has finally come, as today I'm doing infinite damage in standard with an infinite combo you may not have known even existed. It's definitely a weird one. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today we're having fun by comboing again, this time with an infinite combo based around 3 new cards from the Brothers War. But before we get going, I want to thank everyone for their support for this channel. It's so great I get to share my videos with you, and if you want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button below, you won't miss out on future content and new combos, plus you'll be massively supporting the channel too as we close in on 1,000 subscribers. But onto this deck, and although it's really hard to pull off, when you do get an infinite loop of damage. But let's start off with the 3 main cards in the combo. They're Su-Chi Caveguard, pretty decent 8-cost artifact creature with Vigilance and Ward 4, plus when it dies, you add 8 colourless mana to your mana pool, which you don't lose as steps and phases end. We have Urza, Prince of Kroog, a 4-drop 2/3 that gives all artifact creatures you control +2/+2, but more importantly, for 6 mana, you can create a token of a target artifact creature you control, except it's a 1/1 soldier in addition to its other type. Lastly, we're using a card I bet you've never seen before. It's Penregon Strongbull. Now this is a 2/3 red Minotaur that for 1 colourless mana, we can sacrifice an artifact. The Strongbull gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and deals, most importantly, 1 damage to our opponent's face. So if you haven't worked it out by now, we're going to use Urza's ability to pay 6 and make a copy of the Su-Chi. We'll then use the Strongbull's ability to sacrifice the copy, deal 1 damage to our opponent, then we gain 8 colourless mana, which we can use Urza to make another copy of the Su-Chi, and repeat the process until the opponent dies. To get these 3 cards on the battlefield and have 7 mana to do this is pretty hard, but I did have so much fun trying this one. The rest of the deck is basically a Boros Control-y Reanimator deck. I never want to really pay 8 mana for the Su-Chi, so we're going to firstly try to resurrect it with Repair and Recharge, which for 5 mana returns an artifact, enchantment or planeswater to the battlefield from the graveyard. If we can't do this, then we have plenty of ways to make treasure in Fable, which also allows us to discard. We've got Big Score, another discard outlet, and Treasure Maker, and further discard on Cathartic Pyre, which also doubles as a 3 damage spell too. Interaction wise, we have Valorous Stance, Soul Partitions, Depopulate, and the Wandering Emperor. We just got 24 lands here, but we have plenty of ramp, and that's our infinite combo deck. Now this is definitely a deck that is for fun only, and I don't think it can ever be played competitively, but if you want to try something different and have some proper fun doing it, then try this one out. So sit back and watch us pull off the near impossible in the standard. Alright, on the play here, now we have our Strongbull in our hand, but not enough cards to keep us in the game until we get to that point. This is a little bit better. So Urza is the only blue card we have in the deck. I did play a blue-white version splashing red for the longest time, but I ended up playing this version. Opponent with a forest, and we find one of our Soul Partitions. Great cards to play to slow our opponents down, because that's our main problem here. We need to make sure that we can survive until we can jam our creatures down, and then we need our creatures to survive as well. Soul Partition allows you to exile your opponent's creatures, but it also allows you to target your own creatures in the face of removal. But we'll drop the Fable, opponent with the Gala Greeters. So kind of slow for them, which is exactly what we want. We get to discard a couple of cards here. I'm just going to discard one of the lands. And there is our Su-Chi Caveguard. So that is the card I really would like to have discarded if possible. And drop the land here, and just going to attack and gain a treasure. We just need to make as much mana as we possibly can as well. That's something that is going to save us later in the game. And opponent, yeah, just takes it. I've put an upkeep start as we're going to exile this Gala Greeters, and if they want to cast it again, it's going to take up their whole turn. See what the opponent wants to do here. So we seem to be in an okay situation. We just need to try and find our Strongbull, find a way to get this Su-Chi Caveguard probably into the graveyard. However, with the 2/2 on the battlefield, we might be able to hardcast it. Cemetery Prowler is going to be annoying actually, because it's going to be able to exile creature cards from our, or it's going to be able to exile our Su-Chi Caveguard from our graveyard. So probably going to have to ditch the discard theme here, and we'll try and hardcast our Su-Chi Caveguard instead. So we draw another land, that's fine. Land drops is something we're going to need. Opponent on mono green, so we've got to hope that they don't have any removal, but more than likely they have only fight spells. Going to drop our Urza on the hope that they can't remove this. Now, they're probably wondering what is going on here. And yeah, unfortunately we can't attack with our 2/2. Opponent finds their 5th mana. And Defiler, okay. Alright, well that's a bit annoying. We haven't really got any clean ways to deal with that except for a Soul Partition. Just going to pass the turn. We draw another land. I mean, land isn't the absolute worst thing we can be drawing right now. So we could always attack with the 2/2, which would allow us to hardcast our Suchi. And that's what I'm going to do. So opponent presumably going to block and kill this. Or just take the damage, fair enough. Yeah, we just hardcast the Suchi. So it's an 8/8 with Vigilance, but it has Ward 4. So opponent's going to have a really good spell to deal with this. Also, they're going to really struggle to attack through this. Our Reflection is going to be able to start making copies of the Suchi as well. So we just need our Strongbull here. Untap with 7 mana and we should be golden. I can't for 1 minute think the opponent realises what we're trying to do. But they play a Gala Greeters and the other Gala Greeters, so the Defiler is pretty powerful now. I'm glad we played the Suchi on our last turn because we would be taking a lot of damage here. As they don't attack, and there's our Strongbull off the top, okay. Okay, so combo assembled, we just need to gain an extra mana, get the Strongbull on the battlefield, and hope to survive next turn. So our Reflection can make a copy of our Suchi or our Strongbull if we need it. The Suchi is going to be hard for them to kill anyway. Okay, they just play a Caretaker, so unless they can kill me now, I think we've got the combo here. Yeah, they can gain as much life. It just means we have to press triggers more. I think we're going to get there. So this is the first time I've played this deck after I made a couple of changes to the deck. So I'll be pretty happy if we can make this work. I'm just going to make a copy of the Strongbull. Yeah, so we get to use Urza to make a copy of our Suchi Cave Guard. We have to attack with the 2/2 to gain the extra mana. And then with the extra mana, we can use the Strongbull's ability to sacrifice the 3/3. Just doing this slowly so I can show you the combo. Does 1 damage to our opponent. We've gained 8 colourless mana, and then with our Urza we can make another copy of the Suchi. And rinse and repeat. And yeah, there's quite a bit of clicking here, but it's not as bad as some combos I've played with in the past, especially in Historic. And yeah, I'll just let this one go. Oh, opponent scoops it up anyway when they see the writings on the wall. Alright, on the play with a pretty nice hand for our combo deck. 2 Strongbulls plus the Suchi. And we can discard it if we need to with a Fable, but Fable seems to be pretty nice at ramping us as well, so we might even be able to hardcast the guard like we did in the last game. Opponent with a tapped land. Okay, and it's a Voldaren Epicure, and they look like they're on a Gruul deck. But we aren't going to do anything here, we're just going to pass our turn and just wait for some bigger threats. And in the meantime, we get to cast our Fable. So we need to try and find our Urza at some point. That's the card we're missing. We have the mana to cast it though. We've got the coast on the battlefield, so that's the blue mana needed. Opponent has their own Fable. We draw a Cathartic Pyre. So here we can discard our Suchi. We draw a Valorous Stance, okay. Okay, well, we have a few things we can do here. I do really want to attack with my 2/2 and start making some mana, so I guess Soul Partitioning their 2/2 is a decent thing to do. They can't get that back, and we can attack for 2 damage. Opponent takes it, and we gain a treasure. Still looking for our Urza. Okay, so they discard. So they look like there's some kind of artifact themed deck. It's interesting. Hopefully a sort of slow mid-range deck, because that's the kind of thing I think we need to be playing against. It has taken me so many days to make this video. This is one of the hardest combo decks to make. It's such a janky style set of cards that don't really do anything unless in this combo. This Strongbull, I mean, you wouldn't normally play this at all, so I'm glad I'm doing this today. But we're going to kill this Jewel Thief, because at least, again, that means we can attack with the 2/2 next turn and gain some more treasure. I do love finding ways that cards like the Strongbull interact with other cards that you would never know. I wish there was another way to sacrifice creatures and artifacts though, because that's the card we're kind of missing. The Strongbull being in red is a little bit annoying, as Urza is in white and blue. And I would prefer just to play the 2 colours in a combo deck. But we'll drop our Strongbull here. I like to do it now because we have 2 other threats on the board that the opponent may feel are more urgent to kill, so they might leave our Strongbull alone. And yeah, we found our repair recharge there, so that's Suchi is already in our graveyard, so we've got that back on the battlefield. Just need our Urza. An opponent gets a Kiki Jiki themselves. Okay, stimulus package. So I'm wondering if they're a combo deck as well. So they could be a over-the-top deck. It's a deck that I am currently exploring playing. They're using treasure, it seems. So they would cast over the top, and then each player puts X cards from the top of their library, where X is the amount of permanents they own, onto the battlefield. But we've got quite a lot of permanents ourselves, so if they are holding that card, they might actually help us, especially as we're a combo deck. They might have a Devilish Valet in their deck, which would allow them to maybe hit us for lethal. But I'm just going to pass... Well, I'm just going to cast, the Repair Recharge. Get this Suchi on the battlefield. The opponent's going to find it really hard to deal with it. Now, the Suchi plus Reflection of Kiki Jiki is really powerful, as we can start making copies and start smacking our opponents, and we can start doing some serious damage. But I do want to try and win with our combo, so we're just going to do nothing, hold open Valorous Stance instead at the moment. Don't want to make a copy of our Suchi just there, as we wouldn't be able to cast our Valorous Stance. We need this to keep our creatures indestructible. Opponent finds another mana. So our board states are quite similar to each other. There's a Jewel Thief, that's fine. So we're still on 18 life. We can take a few hits, but they're not going to be able to attack into this 8/8. This Suchi is actually quite a good card once it's on the battlefield. I mean, there are a lot better artifact creatures out there, but once it's here, that Ward 4 is pretty good, especially if you can get this down early. It will take opponents whole turns basically to try and kill it, and we're just going to make a copy of our Suchi here, because we're going to have to start doing some kind of damage if we want to win this game. Okay, just a mountain for us, that's fine. Maybe should have kept that in our hand in case we found a Fable, but to discard. But now we have the 6 mana needed, plus the treasure, so just need Urza to try and win the game. But we'll attack with our 8/8 here. Opponent is going to create a 1/1 to block with. That is fine by me. Okay, and yeah, they just block. But they did lose a treasure in doing that. And before it dies, we'll sack it with the Strongbull. And it's going to ping the opponent for 1. We're actually going to gain 8 mana for doing this. But there's not much we can really do with the mana right now, so that's a shame. But yeah, we'll just pass our turn. Opponent down to 15. We're still on 18. Getting there, make a copy of the Jewel Thief in their end step as well. Fair enough. I guess it's a free attack really for them for their 3/3 token, as it's going to die anyway and they're going to gain a treasure out of it. So the more I'm playing this, the more I'm really thinking that the opponent is playing a combo deck with Devilish Valet. And if they're not, they could easily jam over the top in this deck because they have the mana to cast it right now. And it's Titania's Command. Okay, so they're going to put 2 lands onto the battlefield and 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I mean, it's a really good card, but are they going to want to attack into our 8/8? That's the question I want to know. Or they don't even attack with the 5/5, which they probably should have. We can make a copy here of our... I'm actually making a copy of the Fable token here because going to need to start gaining some treasure. And there's Urza off the top. Okay, so can we win this turn? So we're definitely going to attack with the 2/2/2s. And that will gain us 2 mana. We can play Urza. Then we need 6 mana and then 1 more to use our Strongbull. So we're actually a mana short of our combo here. Opponent takes, I don't know why they're taking the damage, but we're actually 1 mana short of the 6 mana +1, but we have a little trick up our sleeve. So before it passes turns, we're going to make a copy of the Suchi. I'm actually gone into full control because I'm not sure if I'm going to need to here. That's going to actually sacrifice in the end step, and that's going to create 8 mana, and then that should be the mana we need to start the combo. So yeah, using the Kiki Jiki there to sacrifice our creature has enabled us to loop into this. So yeah, we get to pay... yeah, I'm still in full control here, so it's asking me to resolve each step. I was a bit wary about coming out of full control, but I do in a second. And there it goes, out of full control, and yeah, we can now go through the loop. Strongbull sacrifices the 3/3, gain 8 mana. Urza creates a copy. Strongbull sacrifices the 3/3, and yeah, I will just shut up and watch the combo go on. All right, well, kudos to our opponent for sitting there and letting us do this to them, or even if they're not, they might not even be there anymore, but you get to see us go all the way down and get the opponent down to 0 life. Took a couple of minutes, but that's the infinite combo for you. All right, on the draw, hand is okay. I really want some more mana. We're pretty tight on mana in this, but we are a combo deck and we have to find space for the most random cards in our deck. So I went for the mulligan, and as you see, we got our Suchi and our Strongbow in our opening hand. So I think it's the same kind of hand. Opponent with a mountain. I hope they're not mono red, as this is going to be a problem for us. Automated Artificer. So it's a 1/3, which I believe taps to cast artifact spells or activate abilities. Okay. But yeah, we'll play that island there. Opponent might not want to play into open mana like we have. So that's my theory. As they play the Weatherlight completed. Okay. So Weatherlight completed gets some kind of counter each time a creature dies, and once it has 4 counters it can attack. And yeah, Reinforced Roning attacks us. Now this is going to go back to the hand. It doesn't die, so it's not going to put a counter on the Weatherlight. But it's a bit of damage that we could do without taking every turn. So we could have Soul Partitioned it then, but I mean, it's just a 1-drop. It's not as if they can't just cast it again next turn. But we'll play our Fable here and make our 2/2. So hand's pretty nice. We've got 4 and 5 mana dropped, plus this 2/2, so we might even be hard casting the Suchi again. Opponent with a Circuit Mender, so Artifact themed red deck. And I guess here comes the Ronin, there it is. And they're going to attack us, and we're just not going to block that. Yeah, so the Ronin's going to be a huge problem for us. We find our Urza, okay. We get to discard the Suchi, definitely. And we draw a land. Okay, we should have discarded a land, but fair enough. We'll play our Urza. I think one of the best ways to play these kind of decks is just to play your stuff and not be too frightened about what the opponent may or may not have. Sure, they've got loads of removal. They've got a black as well in their deck. So here comes the Soul Ripper, I think it's called. And Reinforced Ronin makes a return. Okay. So they're going to be able to crew. Not now, but in the future. Surely they're not going to attack with this Ronin, or they are. Okay. I guess they want to get counters on this Weatherlight. Well, I blocked the Circuit Mender. I didn't want the Ronin to keep... I didn't want them to get a counter onto their Weatherlight completed there. I don't think it matters too much. Okay, they had Voltage Surge in their hand. Fair enough, we lost Urza, which is a bit annoying. I didn't have to block there, but I can't be taking too much damage. Fable turns to Kiki-Jiki. We'll attack with a 2/2 though, and we'll play our Strongbull here. And a Sego. Unfortunate with the Urza dying, because we would then only be a repair recharge away from our combo. But we'll see how we can get back into this game. 2/3 though is a decent blocker to the opponent's creatures, and I need to stop worrying so much about the Weatherlight now. I think we can allow it to get some counters, and then we can just Soul Partition it if we need to. There's a Circuit Mender. Okay, well, they're going to be able to start crewing as well. So we're just going to need to get some tempo back in this game. There's a Soul Ripper coming in. We'll just go to attacks, and then we're just going to cast our Soul Partition here, I think. So their deck is a kind of like a sort of sacrifice deck to help this Weatherlight completed. Lots of synergy there. We're going to Soul Partition this vehicle though. If they want to cast that again next turn, it's going to take up their whole turn. And they're tapped out. But we're going to start blocking the Artificer. I think it's creating quite a bit of a problem for us here. Still don't care about this Ronin right now. And they finally get a counter on their Weatherlight. So the good thing with combo decks is you're always only one top deck away from winning the game. Big Score is not the top deck we need. But we can make a copy of our 2/2 and attack with the 2/2/2s. We're not going to be blocking with them, so we can get some damage in, get some treasure back. And we'll hold our Shivan Reef in our hand to discard with the Big Score, I think. Opponent is on 18 life though. We could do it starting to do some more damage, but the Circuit Menders have gained them back some life here. When I make combo decks, I always like to try and make a plan B in it, so that you can you don't have to rely on it. But this is all in on this combo really. Our plan B is just to sort of do incremental damage as the game goes on. We have the Wandering Emperor, which is always a good way to win, but we don't have enough control for that. This is just to see if we can get an infinite combo in Standard, which I haven't seen for a while. And the return of the Reinforced Ronin. Okay, well, this time I am going to cast Big Score, and we are going to discard this Shivan Reef and look for some gas. 2 Adarkar Wastes is probably the worst thing we could have drawn ever there, but whatever. We'll Soul Partition this Circuit Mender. I just don't see the point of Soul Partitioning the Reinforced Ronin. They're just going to cast it again. No blocks, and we'll just take the damage down to 7. Come on, deck. Let's get something. Maybe something we can discard. Maybe another Big Score would be nice. And we'll just pass the turn, and it is another Strongbull. Okay, well, definitely not what we want. We're kind of hoping now the opponent hasn't got anything they can do. But we'll cast the Strongbull on the off chance that this leads us to victory here. So opponent is going to take 4 presumably here. We gain another treasure, okay. Yeah, down to 12, and we will pass the turn. And it is channeling the reinforced friendly to draw a card, okay. Another land. Interesting to see what they play here actually, because I'm just doing some math, and I was talking about not having a plan B. Okay, it's a Blade called Serpent for all their mana though. And if they attack with this, they are dead. There it goes. Okay, so we can just block with one of these Strongbulls. We don't die ourselves. I can't believe we're going to win this game, but the plan B I was talking about, is the Strongbull a plan B? Because we're going to be able to use its ability here to sacrifice all these treasures, do 1 damage to opponent, put them down to 8. It's going to put +1 counters on the Strongbull, so the Strongbull's going up to a 6, and that along with the 2/2 is 8 damage, so this is lethal. I can't believe we are going to win this game. But this was just information that the opponent could see as well, so they didn't need to attack with that Blade Coil Serpent there. And yeah, they're going to take 4 damage to their face, and we're going to do 8 damage back to them. We could even sack the treasure if we needed to as well, and they're dead. Unbelievable. Alright, on the play with the nuts, it looks like. Urza, Strongbull, and Suchi. I haven't had a hand like this in all the games I've played with this combo deck. We've even got decent land, so yeah, I'm really liking this. Fingers crossed we get a chance to combo off here. We find another Strongbull, which isn't great, but there's a repair recharge. Alright, so we'll play one of our Strongbulls here. Opponent on Bant, it seems. So they didn't counter our Strongbull, which I would normally suspect with a blue mana open. 4 colours and a Bushwhack, looking for a basic land card. And it's a mountain, alright. I have no idea what we're up against here. Some kind of domain shenanigans going on. I mean, this is just weird, so I'm a bit skeptical about casting this Urza into their mana, but they haven't removed this Strongbull, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Alright, I'm like 100% sure they don't know what on earth's going on. Pyre's nice, that's a way to discard our Suchi that we can bring back next turn. So we want to draw, I guess I should have maybe discarded the Suchi there in case I drew a land. I could have played it. Opponent with a 5th mana, well, we'll discard our Suchi now. Yeah, we draw another Strongbull, okay. There's a land, good. And I'm worried about the opponent's deck. I really don't want to get anything countered here, and the Suchi absolutely has to hit the battlefield. So I was nervous about casting the repair recharge. So I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm also skeptical about attacking as well. Yeah, just went for the other Strongbull. So maybe I'm playing this a little bit too safe. But as you can see, there's Kyodai. So I'm really glad I didn't attack. And yeah, this card has flash, and that would have killed any of our creatures. So absolutely feel validated that I didn't attack then. So Kyodai says, I think it's pay 1 of each colour of mana to give it +5/+5 until end of turn. So, and it's Kyrie, Swirling Sky. Now they have tapped out, and this could be our, well, this is definitely our window of opportunity. So we will repair recharge the 10/10, and we now have all the pieces in place. We just got to survive next turn with all our creatures on the battlefield. So my fingers are crossed right now. Kyrie can return our creatures to our hand, but only if it dies. I'm not going to be attacking with my Suchi though, which is what I think they probably want me to do. And I wonder if they're going to, they do. They attack with a 3-3 and I'm guessing they're going to pump here, which is exactly what we want to see. Oh, they don't. Okay, well that suggests they've got interaction in their hands. We've got to be careful here. So right now we have our combo assembled. We can use the 7 mana we have to win the game. But I am going to wait. I'm going to wait for them to make the first move. I don't want to use my Urza and then kill it in response. I want to activate Urza in response to them killing it. So we're going to wait for them to tap out completely. And I'm pretty sure they're going to. They did last turn. Yeah, so this is a reluctant pass the turn, but the good thing about this combo is it's instant speed. I can't believe they didn't cast a spell last turn, so they've got something in their hand. I have no idea what it is. Here comes Atsushi, and that's tapped out enough for me, so I'm going to now go for the combo. They still have a little bit of mana open, but not as much as they had a minute ago. And yeah, we get to do our combo here, see if our opponent's going to allow us to go through it. Opponent scoops it up before we get a chance to do that 14 times. Nice one. Thanks for watching. I wanted to make this deck for the longest time, but it's so janky that I couldn't get too much footage of it, so I'm really glad that I finally did it today. I really enjoyed the games I won without the combo too, and the win with the Strongbull sacrificing treasure pre-combat was pretty awesome. I don't think there are any other infinite combos in standard at the moment, but if you know of any, let me know and I'm sure to try them out. Feel free to subscribe for future videos, and I'll speak to you again very soon.